Cindy, this was an amazing talk. Tell me, what is Make Love Not Porn?
Make Love Not Porn is the world's first social sex video sharing platform designed to celebrate real-world sex as a counterpoint to porn acting as default sex education. We are socializing sex to make it easier to talk about in order to promote good sexual values, good sexual behavior. At Make Love Not Porn, we call ourselves the social sex revolution. The revolution part is not the sex, it's the social.
Now, what I love is that there's this huge following behind you. You're creating this whole other world, which is sex tech.
So it came about kind of accidentally. It's been so challenging trying to raise just $2 million to scale Make Love Not Porn that 3 years ago I began defining, pioneering and championing my own category, sex tech, purely to create a climate of receptivity to get my own startup funded. But as I began doing that, I realized the enormous potential of this category, and sex tech founders from all around the world began writing to me. And so I'm now raising $200 million to start the world's first and only sex tech fund, All the Sky Holdings.
So the thing is, for people out there, what exactly is sex tech? What are you touching on? What are you talking about?
So sex tech is any form of technology or tech venture designed to innovate, disrupt and enhance in any area of human sexuality and human sexual experience. And the interesting thing about it is, right now, this is not a tech sector that anybody encourages you to go into. So when I give talks at tech conferences, I say to the audience, I'm going to ask you to do something no one's ever asked you before. Start a sex tech venture. Fund a sex tech venture, support a sex tech venture, because sex tech is the next $1 trillion category in tech.
So other than Make Love Not Porn, what else would you class as a sex tech venture that our audience can relate to?
Oh, there are too many to cite, but what I suggest to your audience is go to womenofsextech.com and you will see many, many amazing female-founded sex tech ventures on that website.
With Snapchat and WhatsApp being used as almost like sexting tools, you're actually creating one that has security behind it. Is that correct?
So I spoke to the audience tonight about the fact that when apps like Snapchat and WhatsApp refuse to admit that sexting is a perfectly natural human activity and therefore refuse to admit that a lot of it goes on their platform and therefore refuse to design for it, what that means is that they are not designing security, intimacy, privacy, consensuality, confidentiality into their apps. I have in the pipeline, and I'm looking for funding for it, the Make Love Not Porn Safe Social Sexting app. The world's first app dedicated unashamedly to sexting, using state-of-the-art security to ensure that everything is utterly private, but that also then enables the two of you, in sharing sex videos and photographs, to be able to do a number of things that allow you to explore your sexuality together and improve your sexual relationship, in line with our single-minded mission at Make Love Not Porn, which is to help make it easier for the world to talk about sex.
Yeah.
Well, we need to talk about it especially because people are having very bad sex at the age of 12 and 13. As I always explain with Make Love Not Porn, the issue isn't porn. The issue is that we don't talk about sex in the real world. And as long as we don't, kids will get education from porn. And as long as porn is a male-dominated industry, that will not be a good thing for either boys or girls. And so I find it utterly outrageous that I've been trying for 3 years to raise just $2 million to scale Make Love Not Porn, to change the world through sex, and nobody will fund me.
People that are actually going onto your website, you have a huge, huge following in China, in India, and in the Middle East.
And unfortunately, I don't have the funds to be able to take advantage of that. We get enormous global traffic. I'm trying to raise $2 million to translate Make Love Not Porn so we can capitalize on the huge traffic we get from China, India, Brazil, the Middle East. Until I find investors, I can't do anything about that.
And you also made a good point by talking about sex, by saying what was the term you used? Sex values, is that right?
Sexual values.
Sexual values, teaching people from a young age what sexual values are. It's going to help us with the problem of rape, sexual harassment, and even this culture where, you know, it's okay to touch when you should know when and when not to touch.
The point I made to the audience was, I designed Make Love Not Porn around my own philosophy, which is that everything in life and business starts with you and your values. So I regularly ask people this question: what are your sexual values? And no one can ever answer me because we're not taught to think like that. Many of us, if we're lucky, are born into families where our parents bring us up to have good manners, a work ethic, sense of responsibility, accountability. No one ever brings us up to behave well in bed. But they should, because their empathy, generosity, sensitivity, kindness, honesty are as important as they are in every other area of our lives and our work where we are actively taught to exercise those values. So, when Make Love Not Porn achieves its social mission, here's what will happen. Parents will bring their children up openly to have good sexual values and good sexual behavior in the same way they bring them up openly to have good values and good behavior in every other area of life. We will therefore cease to bring up rapists, because you only end rape culture when you inculcate in society a universally understood gold standard of what are good sexual values and good sexual behavior. When you do that, you also end sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual violence. You massively empower women and girls worldwide, and you create a far happier world for everyone, including men. That's our end goal.
And I love it. So, how do we get you funding?
Darling, you tell me. I'm open to all ideas. All I need is $2 million and I can change the world through sex.
So anybody out there that has $2 million in their pocket, I feel like...
Email Cindy at makelovenotporn.com.
Sex tech is where it's at.